My name wasn't on the plaque. They'd mounted it crooked, like a slapdash gravestone, right outside the glass conference room I wasn't invited into. Team of the Year, Project Echo. Beneath it, 6 names gleamed in brushed aluminum. I'd written 72% of the code. They left me off like gum scraped from a shoe. I stared at that plaque until my coffee went cold and my fingers stopped shaking. You know what's worse than being erased? Being erased on purpose. I knew something was off weeks earlier, when the office Alexa suddenly stopped responding to my voice, but chirped right away, Brad like he was royalty. When I got locked out of the GitHub repo and Kevin from QA said, "Weird, must be a sync issue," while minimizing a Slack thread with my initials tagged and then never reopened it. I started eating lunch in my car, not out of drama, out of strategy. I needed space to think, because something was rotten. I just forgot my raise rotten. Strategy meeting at Soho House without you rotten. I checked the company credit card ledger. I wasn't supposed to have access to anymore, bless my desktop cache, and saw 3 Uber charges from Chris Legal to a jazz bar downtown. Same bar I'd found our CTO slow dancing with that patent lawyer in 2019, when I still believed loyalty was rewarded. The playlist I'd built, the one that broke their user retention curve, unrenamed, now labeled Echo Loop v2.0 Internal Alpha. Internal my ass, it was already live in the app, and the micro-royalty tracker still showed a ghost author, me. When I asked Sarah from legal, she squinted like I'd handed her a radioactive ham sandwich. "That's above my pay grade," she said. "You should talk to Carl, the same man who'd once told me to smile more in client calls. It softens your edges." I smiled, all right. I smiled while I printed everything. Commit logs, IP timestamps, emails with the subject line, change author tag before launch. I highlighted, underlined, annotated like a woman unhinged, or maybe just a woman who refused to go down quietly. The best part, I hadn't signed the last version of my contract. They'd sent it to my old email, the one with the typo in it. No signature, no NDA, definitely no clause about intellectual property rights transfer. They forgot the most dangerous thing in tech, the quiet woman with admin privileges. So I called Maya, not just a lawyer. Maya was the kind of litigator whose Yelp reviews mentioned the word vengeance. She took one look at my folder, actual paper, not digital, and said, "We're not suing them. We're haunting them." I didn't know exactly what that meant, yet. But Monday morning, she hand-delivered a subpoena so thick it made the front desk guy whistle. "Who's that for?" he asked. I said, "Everyone who thought lost in legal was the same as gone," and walked out before the plaque even finished falling off the wall. I didn't go to the office Monday. I went to the art gallery across the street, bought a single ticket, sat in front of a painting I didn't understand for 2 hours while I watched the storm brew through the floor-ceiling windows of our glass fortress. By 9:13 a.m., I had my first text, "Brad, can we chat?" 9:14, second one, HR Carla. "Hey, can we clarify something your employment status?" By 9:17, Maya texted a screenshot of their internal reply all panic, accidentally CC'd to her firm instead of their outside counsel. Subject line, "Wait, we do owe her royalties." Turns out, the word subpoena carries more weight than any annual review. They'd buried my name in the appendix of the legal doc bundle. Footnote 8.3. It was the digital equivalent of writing someone's name in lemon juice and praying no one lights a match. But I was the match. Carl finally called at 10:02. "We're surprised by the escalation." "Funny," I said. "I was surprised when you removed me from the Echo credits and claimed the algorithm was crowdsourced." He cleared his throat. "Let's not get emotional." "Oh, I'm not emotional, Carl. I'm invoiceable." Then I hung up and put my phone on airplane mode, because by then I wasn't playing defense. I was watching the walls buckle. At 10:26, someone leaked the subpoena to a startup gossip blog. By 10:40, their stock, ready paper thin, started dipping like it had vertigo. But the best part? That didn't even come from me. It came from Steve's ex-wife. Apparently, she'd been waiting for the right moment to burn him, and Maya, bless her Machiavellian instincts, had somehow looped her into the witness list. Her affidavit included screenshots of Steve bragging over iMessage. We tweaked her code just enough. She won't even notice, lol. I noticed, Steve. I noticed everything. For once, they couldn't unhear me. Couldn't mute me, couldn't rename the doc, couldn't forward the problem into Oblivion with thanks, looping Brad in. By noon, my LinkedIn had more cold messages than a Tinder profile with cleavage and a CS degree. Tech journalists wanted quotes. Former coworkers sent me cryptic texts like, "Holy shit, you did it," and remind me never to piss you off. But the one that hit me hardest came at 12:52. From Ravi. Ravi was our intern back in 2020. Quiet, brilliant, got shafted in his exit interview by Carl and ghosted like he never existed. His message just said, "Watching them sweat is better than therapy. You're a goddamn legend." I sat in my parked car outside the gallery, hands shaking, still holding the half-smashed bagel I hadn't touched since Friday. And for the first time in 3 years, I didn't feel invisible. I felt nuclear. But I wasn't done. I thought royalties were the end game. I hadn't even played my real card yet. The patent, the real one. The one I filed under a pseudonym just before they cut my access. The one that, if validated, would make their entire product legally radioactive. And the best part, they'd already sold it to a defense contractor. The contract hit the news before I could even sip my celebratory gas station espresso. Echo Loop secures $8.2 deal with Orbis Tech Defense. The CEO grinned like a televangelist in the press photo, his hand on Steve's back like he'd just blessed him into sainthood. They used buzzwords like integrated AI rhythm analysis and predictive sonic profiling. Sounded impressive. Sounded expensive. Sounded like my code, dressed up in war paint. Only one problem: the core engine. One predicting movement patterns based on microsound variations in user behavior. Yeah, that was mine. Filed 6 months ago under the name A.E. Harper. A nod to my late grandmother, who taught me to program on a second-hand ThinkPad in her trailer between Jeopardy reruns and Sunday church. And guess what? They'd copied it byte for byte. A full match. Even the error logs had my initials buried in them like fossil records. But they didn't know that yet. Were too busy uncorking champagne in their exposed brick boardroom and pretending they weren't standing on a landmine. See, I hadn't filed that patent alone. I'd filed it with Ravi. Remember Ravi? Intern. Vanished. Ghosted. Turns out he didn't vanish. He just got tired of being stepped on and quietly climbed his way to lead data architect at a competitor so new they didn't even have branded mugs yet. And guess what their startup needed? A kill switch. I sent him the match logs. He replied with a skull emoji and a thumbs up. Meanwhile, Maya had looped in a patent lawyer named Curtis who looked like a tax auditor and moved like a chess grandmaster. Curtis drafted a cease and desist so cold it could have cracked bone marrow. It was addressed directly to Orbis Tech, not Echo Loop. That's when it started. The second storm. I didn't need to leak anything this time. Orbis Tech's internal team caught wind of the dispute and froze the funds. Froze the integration. Froze the entire Echo Loop rollout like a caveman in a glacier. And suddenly, Brad's name was off the plaque. Suddenly, I got a call from the actual CEO. Not Carl, not HR, the CEO. "Let's talk this through," he said, using the tone men reserve for detonating bombs they didn't build. I let him talk. For 11 minutes and 42 seconds. I said, "You still think this is about a raise?" Silence. "Your team edited me out like a bad lyric," I said. "Now I'm the chorus." He tried legalese, tried charm, even tried guilt. "We believed in you." So I reminded him, belief without attribution is just theft in a tuxedo. I hung up. That was Thursday. By Friday, Maya had filed the injunction. By Monday, their homepage redirected to a press statement. And inside the boardroom, behind those glass walls they thought made them untouchable, legal had gone missing. And I wasn't done yet. It was the cleaning lady who told me, not my lawyer, not the press, not even Ravi. It was Marta, who used to bring me peppermint tea on bad days and whispered gossip like confessions in a cathedral. She texted me from a burner phone she used to avoid corporate device syncing. The message read, "They cleared out legal's entire floor last night. No warning. Files gone, Sarah crying. Carl left with a box, like literal box." I stared at the screen, rereading Carl left with a box like it was poetry. The man who once mocked me for color-coding Jira tickets just got yeeted out of the company like expired yogurt. I wanted to feel triumphant. Instead, I felt nothing. Which is how I knew I still wasn't finished. Because here's what they didn't know. They weren't the only ones laundering code through third parties. I'd embedded a tracer function inside my own algorithm. Something harmless, elegant, invisible. It only activated when the system ran continuously for 72 hours without a reset. And guess what Echo Loop had just demoed to Orbis Tech? A 96-hour uninterrupted trial. So at precisely 3:12 a.m. on Saturday morning, while the world slept and stockbrokers snored into their CPAP machines, the tracer triggered. It didn't destroy anything. Would have been too kind. No, it whispered. Whispered a line of code that crawled up the logs like a ghost. Developed by A.E. Harper. Unauthorized use constitutes IP violation under 18 U.S. Code Section 1832. And then, it sent a duplicate log to Orbis Tech's compliance server. By dawn, the defense boys were holding emergency meetings with faces like they'd chewed broken glass. They didn't care about attribution, royalties, or fairness. Cared about liability, and my code. My code was now a liability wrapped in a subpoena burrito, drizzled in federal consequences. Ravi called me at 7:05 a.m. He didn't say hello. He just whispered, "You lit a fuse inside a Pentagon conference room." I smiled. Did they blink? They called an outside counsel before their second coffee. I went quiet. Because for the first time in months, maybe years, I wasn't trying to prove anything. I wasn't fighting to be seen, credited, or respected. I had become the problem. The kind of problem that turns promotions into postmortems. And yet, Echo Loop still hadn't called again. No apology, no offer, no groveling. Just silence thick enough to chew. Until 3:47 p.m. That's when Steve called. Not from his office line. Not from his work cell. From a blocked number like I wouldn't recognize his breathy little sigh before he spoke. "Never meant for it to go this far," he said. I pictured his dumb Patagonia vest and the way he once pronounced algorithm like it rhymed with enthusiasm. "You stole from me, Steve," I said calmly. "I believed in you," he countered. "Yeah, then you should have believed I'd bury you too." He started to cry. I hung up. And that night I celebrated with a grilled cheese, a glass of Pinot, and a backup plan already in motion. Because while everyone was looking at the royalties, I still hadn't noticed the AI prototype in their beta wasn't mine. I'd swapped it out weeks ago. And the one they launched live, it had a leak. The leak wasn't dramatic. No blinking red light. No sirens. No ominous access denied message in bold courier font. Just numbers. A slow drip of data rerouted every 6 hours to a secure offshore server labeled Harper Archive v3. I wasn't stealing. I was reclaiming. Every keystroke that Echo Loop monetized without my consent, every behavior map tied to my algorithm, they'd piped it through my proxy AI, polished it, and served it up to Orbis Tech like it was clean tech. It wasn't. It was radioactive. I'd written the leak as a kind of digital insurance, a breadcrumb trail in case things went dark. And now it was a noose. At 9:12 a.m., Tuesday, Orbis Tech's lead engineer, woman named Drea with a reputation for clawing through code like a forensic surgeon, pinged Maya. Her email subject line read, "Who the hell is A.E. Harper?" Maya forwarded it to me with one word, showtime. They didn't just want royalties now, they wanted indemnity, protection. They wanted me to sign a retroactive waiver saying I'd built the system on their behalf, which, legally, would make me the originator but not the owner. Cute. I told Maya to reply with a 13-word statement. All offers must include damages, licensing, and a public correction of authorship. 3 hours later, Echo Loop's new CTO, some guy I'd never met with hair like a J.Crew mannequin, asked to hop on a quick Zoom to align goals. I aligned all right. I aligned a screen share of their source code with mine, highlighted every matching line. Then I paused. "See this?" I said, clicking into a module labeled User Echo Predict v1.3. "That's my tracer." "That's also a federal violation." He swallowed. I could hear it over the mic. I just joined the company," he stammered. "I wasn't aware. You are now." "They offered me $45,000. I laughed. "They offered $120,000. I muted the call and peeled an orange. "They tried $500,000, but without the public statement." I didn't even reply. I forwarded the offer to Maya with a subject line, "Spare change from thieves." By Thursday, the board started bleeding. 2 resignations, 1 suspension. Carl was now on leave. Sarah from legal ghosted LinkedIn. The Echo Loop homepage started redirecting users to a statement clarifying authorship errors while trying not to admit liability. But they still hadn't issued my name, just some vague corporate speak about early development team contributors. I wanted blood, not a footnote. So I called Drea at Orbis Tech directly. "No lawyers, no filter. I can give you a clean version of the tech," I said. "No tracer, no ghosts, built from scratch, no risk. But I want 2 things." She waited. 1, full authorship acknowledgement, public name and lights, and 2, she asked. I leaned back, watching the rain slide down my window. An advisory role, 6 figures, remote, no middleman. And I never, ever have to talk to anyone named Steve again. She exhaled long and slow. You're not playing around, are you? I've been played, I said. Now I write the rules. And before the call ended, she gave me what Echo Loop never did, my name, out loud. Followed by, we'll be in touch, Miss Harper. And just like that, the woman they tried to erase became the one they all needed. But I wasn't finished. Not yet, because there was still one document left to leak. And it had Steve's signature all over it. The document was called Project Horizon, buried in an archived dev folder, misnamed, mislabeled, password protected but not smartly. Steve had used his dog's birthday again, which I cracked in 7 minutes using his own Instagram feed and a little rage-fueled deduction. It wasn't just a proposal. It was a blueprint. Not for an app, not for a feature, for a surveillance add-on. Something my code wasn't built for, something it wasn't meant to do. Horizon was designed to predict user behavior based on audio cues, GPS trends, and even passive voice analysis during calls, flagging emotional volatility, mapping stress patterns, selling it to enterprise partners like insurance companies and military contractors. It had my algorithm at the center, repurposed, warped, twisted into something invasive, and Steve had signed the bottom of the doc. Approved for exploratory integration Harper's Model v2.1. My name, again, without permission. They hadn't just stolen my work, they'd mutated it. I sent the doc to Maya. Her reply was one line, time to go nuclear. Within 48 hours, had it routed to 3 different watchdog groups and a journalist at Wired who owed Maya a favor after she helped him dodge a defamation suit in 2018. Friday morning, I woke to a headline. Startup used developers' code to build a motion surveillance tool without consent. The article dropped names. Steve's, Carl's, even Sarah from legal. But most importantly, it dropped mine, front and center. A.E. Harper, independent developer, credited architect of the Echo Loop algorithm, unwilling participant in Project Horizon. The fallout hit like a flashbang. By noon, Echo Loop's investors were clawing back funds. Orbis Tech froze all future collaboration pending internal review. The CTO resigned mid-meeting and posted a Notes app apology on Twitter. And Steve went offline. His socials vanished. His company bio got yanked. Someone on Reddit said they spotted him in an airport lounge crying into a can of La Croix. I didn't feel bad. I didn't feel good either. I just felt done. Until Maya called with one final update. They want to settle. Who? I asked. Echo Loop. Full royalties, public apology. A non-disclosure if you want it, plus equity. I paused. They're scared, she added. They should be, I said. But part of me wanted more than money, more than credit. I wanted ruin. Not for everyone, just for the ones who looked me in the eye and said, we're a family here, while quietly deleting my name from every document like it was a smudge. So I gave Meyer a condition. I'll settle, but I want the apology printed. Not digital, full page, Tech Times. She was quiet for a beat, then laughed. I've had stranger demands. And Maya, yeah, I want them to spell my name right. Every letter, she said. The leak had done its job, but the real blow was still coming. Because there was one final meeting I hadn't declined yet. A video call request from Steve's wife. The invite came through at 3:03 a.m. Subject, can we speak? Rachel, Steve's wife, no body text, no threats, no emojis, just the quiet death rattle of a marriage on fire. I didn't answer at first. I watched the cursor blink over her name like it owed me an explanation. I didn't owe her anything, but curiosity. That's a ruthless drug, so I joined the call. Her video clicked on before mine did. She looked exactly how I remembered, too put together to be from tech, but too sharp not to smell the rot. Rachel always knew more than she said, which, ironically, made her the only one in that whole building who ever scared me. She didn't smile. Did you know, she said calmly, Steve put our mortgage against his stock options. The ones tied to Echo Loop's product launch. I didn't blink. Did he know he was about to sign a surveillance weapon into a commercial contract? Her lip twitched, not a smile, more like the ghost of something mean. Do you still have access to his inbox? Do you still have access to his wine cellar? Silence. Then she pulled something up, held it to the webcam, a printed email, full header, timestamps. Subject, she'll never find out. We just reroute her logic path and scrub the tags. Steve's name. Carl CC'd. The recipient? Sarah. Legal, of course. Rachel leaned closer. They wrote this in my house. Over Merlot I paid for. Using my Wi-Fi, I exhaled. Why are you showing me this? Because I'm done covering for him. And I want to make sure he's done too. I narrowed my eyes. What do you want? She smiled now, slow and razor-edged. help me file a separate IP claim. I funded part of that project through our joint account. I can prove it. Let's make the final cut. That's when I saw it, the same cold, quiet fury I'd felt for months. Only now it wore pearls. I want you to ruin him properly, she said. The way women ruin things, completely and with receipts. I didn't say yes. I just forwarded her Maya's contact info and wrote, don't call it revenge, call it reconciliation. That afternoon, Echo Loop's board went into full lockdown. The rumor mill hit boiling point. Screenshots leaked. Reddit threads exploded. One dev posted that their Slack workspace had been nuked mid-meeting. Another said Steve's parking spot was available for visitors now. I went dark again, just long enough for silence to build tension. Then, finally, I emailed Echo Loop directly. Subject line, final offer, clocks ticking. Attached, the original royalty agreement they buried. The tracer code log. The Project Horizon document. Rachel's signed affidavit confirming misuse of marital assets in the development of their core IP. And my closing sentence? Next time you build a system to listen to people, make sure you listen to the ones you steal from first. I hit send and waited. The last domino was wobbling, and it was going to fall on all of them. They caved by Monday. Not with grace, not with dignity, with compliance. Kind of corporate groveling you only get when someone's share price is on life support, and their legal team's been reduced to 3 interns and a stapler. Full royalties, backdated with interest. Public apology, printed just like I asked. Page 3 of Tech Times, beneath a full-color photo of me speaking at a panel they once said I wasn't polished enough to represent them on. They spelled my name right. Avery Elise Harper. In bold. But the real masterpiece. Footnote buried in their updated terms of use. Harper Protocol in use under licensed agreement. Unauthorized derivative use strictly prohibited. My name, a clause now, try erasing that. Steve didn't show up for the final arbitration. His lawyer did, hollow-eyed, overcaffeinated, clutching a sweaty manila folder like it contained the last piece of his soul. Maya called it the paperwork equivalent of a surrender flag. Rachel, on the other hand, showed up early. Heels, with her hair up and a single AirPod in. She didn't say a word during the meeting, just signed where Maya told her to, then passed me a sealed envelope on her way out. Inside was a photo. Steve, passed out in a hammock, a beer on his chest, a dog licking peanut butter off his open laptop. Caption in Rachel's handwriting, "This is who tried to erase you." I framed it, put it right next to my patent certificate. As for me, I didn't take the Echo Loop equity. Too volatile, too tainted. But I did take the advisory role at Orbis Tech with a custom contract. My own team, fully remote, no Steves allowed. Sometimes I still get emails from junior devs, young women, saying they saw the article, saying they printed it, saying they finally asked for their raise. And sometimes I get emails from people who stole from me. People who forgot I was watching. They always say the same thing, "Can we talk?" I don't reply. I just forward them to Maya and go back to building the next thing, because I'm not a ghost anymore. I'm not a footnote. I'm the clause, and they'll never scrub me out again. You're the real stars of the corporate jungle. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe, or I'll flick the switch on your old cubicle memories.